1951. It was also the year Dartmoor was designated a national park and when Sir Winston Churchill was re-elected as Prime Minister. And at the Oats Temperance Hotel in Redruth on the 6th of January, 13 people met to set up a new political party. Its name, Mebyon Kernow. And this month, the party is celebrating its 75th anniversary. Cornwall Councillor Dick Cole is the party's leader.
We've had, over the years, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people that have worked through MK, campaigned for a better deal for Cornwall, tried to get more powers for Cornwall, stood up for Cornwall's identity, its culture, its language, the environment, the economy. I mean, looking forward, the political narrative of today is very much about devolution, where decisions are taken. And obviously the battle for us going forward has to be to get the government to acknowledge and act upon its obligations to the Cornish as a national minority. And so hopefully some of the things that MK has been campaigning on for decades will actually come to pass in the next few years.
75 years and still going strong. Well, with me this morning is Loveday Jenkin. She's a Cornwall councillor and the party's current deputy leader. Miss Ndar Loveday.
Miss Ndar.
Good to be with you this morning. You have a very strong family connection as well, don't you, to Mebyon Kernow? Tell me more about that.
I do. I wasn't there at the initial meeting. I'm not quite that old, but my future mother and father were there. They hadn't actually got together as a partnership then, but they were there, and they my mother's cousin, Eleanor Charles, was the convener. So you could say that my life with Mebyon Kernow goes back a long way.
It certainly does, doesn't it? Gosh, that's a lovely story. What was the idea behind setting up the party?
I think the idea was that people were seeing post-war that things were changing and that there needed to be understanding of the interests of Cornwall. Eleanor Charles, who was a convener, had worked with a lot of minority organisations across Europe as part of her work after the war, and she understood that the need and the wish for minorities to have a voice within Europe was growing, and recognised that in Cornwall, unless something was done, the Cornish voice would be very much diluted, and that we needed to have something that would take that voice forward.
At its inception, of course, the stronghold in terms of the political landscape, you had the Conservative, Labour and the Liberal Party then. How easy was it to try and break through that trio to get your message across?
I think getting the message across was easier than people thought. There was a lot of publishing of pamphlets and organising meetings. And initially, when Mebyon Kernow was set up, members of any party could join it. So it started off as a campaigning and discussion group. And a lot of the ideas and propositions that were discussed at the time are now part of our DNA in Cornwall. Campaigning for our own economic development, looking after our environment, setting up a university for Cornwall, having a voice for Cornwall as an entity. I think most people in Cornwall would feel that's a good thing now. Yeah. But at the time, there was the perception was, Cornwall can just be rolled into a wider, amorphous southwest.
And in terms of getting that message across and also challenging the political establishment, how radical was it in the outset?
I think it was seen as radical. I don't think the young people who set it up felt that they were doing anything other than saying, come on, give us a voice. But in the early days, for instance, the Cornish flag, which was really promoted by Mebyon Kernow, was sometimes seen as the Mebyon Kernow flag. But now we recognise the Cornish flag across Cornwall. In fact, the first one that was flown in modern times was flown for the Festival of Britain and was sewn by Eleanor Charles. So before that, really, the Cornish flag as a symbol of Cornwall was not really recognised. So, things that started off with Mebyon Kernow are now sort of mainstream within Cornwall. And I think Mebyon Kernow has always been at the vanguard of thinking about what's best for Cornwall. Objective One campaigning for that, for instance, was something that Mebyon Kernow raised, and then was taken up about the need for Cornwall to be recognised as a region within Europe so that it could obtain the higher levels of European funding. So, members of Mebyon Kernow got involved with other organisations that were campaigning for that at that time.
And how much do you think the work that the party has done has put Cornwall itself on the map?
I think Cornwall wouldn't exist in the same form now if we hadn't had Mebyon Kernow for the last 75 years. Mebyon Kernow, from being a ginger group, from being something that was saying, well, hang on a minute, what about Cornwall, has made people realise that Cornwall actually is a distinct entity with a distinct culture and heritage, is something that the world needs. And we've just seen that recently with the Global Cornish Initiative, that people from all over the world look to Cornwall as a place of opportunity and a place of innovation.
Lovely to talk to you this morning. Thank you very much. Cllr Loveday to Mebyon Kernow as well, on 75 years being at the heart of politics in Cornwall. That's Cllr Loveday Jenkin, the Deputy Leader of Mebyon Kernow. You can read more as well on that story online on the BBC News app.